Hello and welcome back to the Push to Pass F1 podcast. With there being no race this weekend, we're just going to do a quick little episode about some Formula 1 hot takes. Now, these can be either from the two races we've had this season or on the whole. They could be about the sport, about a driver, about a track, whatever. Do you love a good old hot take?
I love a scorching, boiling hot, third-degree burn
A
take.
proper Nando's hot take.
Yeah.
Third-degree burn.
Yeah.
So, should we go for one of the ones I found online?
Yeah, go on.
So, this is one I have found on the old Tiki-Toki, which is always the best place to find information. This says, the Monaco Grand Prix is only still on the calendar because of its history. First of all, are you a fan of Monaco?
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
I'm very hit and miss with it.
I like it. Probably is something to do with history. Bit of history merchant.
Yeah, it's definitely like...
No, it just is good, though. As a street circuits go, it's so cool.
Do you know what I do like it for is the F2 and F3. Seeing them,
Yeah.
because the paddock is like miles away and they've got to drive through the streets now, and you just see like random videos next, and it's like, oh my god, it's like Ollie Bearman driving down the road.
It's so cool in there. No, it just is a cool place. And like, if you've ever been, it's got aura. Like, even if you go, like, I went and it was nowhere near F1 season.
Oh no, I've drove around the track with my dad's Audi A4.
And it's like, it's got aura.
Oh yeah, it's this. I'm not opposed to getting rid of it.
Really? I wouldn't want to get rid of it.
Because it's one of those ones where you can. It's not impossible. Like we saw with Singapore, there was the old Singapore sling chicane, wasn't there?
Yes.
They got rid of that and they've altered the track. You can't really do that with Monaco. It's very much a set sort of.
Yeah, but I think it's not dangerous.
Oh no, not 100%. It's not dangerous. Like, don't get me wrong, we're not in 1950s drivers going into the harbour sort of territory.
Yeah.
But like, it's definitely like it's a spectacle, and I think it might be completely different next year because the cars are becoming thinner.
They're smaller, yeah.
Yeah, so it might be completely different next year, and we might get overtakes and stuff like that. But I'm not looking forward to it this year. But I do sort of agree that it is still there because of its history. Like, if we spoke in the China review about Hanoi, say if that had gone ahead and that had a similar result to Monaco in its first year, then
it would have gone.
Yeah, it wouldn't have kept its place, would it?
No, which is fair enough, and history does have something to do with it. But it is cool.
It's really cool.
So I love it.
And
keep it.
And to be fair, I think as long as Charles Leclerc's in the sport, he'll probably stay.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because that's like a big old market they can tick. Do you want to give a hot and spicy opinion, or do you want me to?
Go on.
Okay. Should we go? I'll go a bit milder first to start off with. Where are they to? There they are. So this is one for the current grid. I believe Gabriel Bortoleto has more potential than Ollie Bearman.
Difficult to say.
It's difficult to say, but I think coming into the year, Oliver Bearman was given so much hype, and I think Bortoleto sort of slid under the radar a little bit.
Yeah, I really like Bortoleto, and if you compare their two junior careers, you'd say that Bortoleto's quicker.
Oh yeah, F2 champion. He won. I think I might be right in saying I think he's the first driver in F2 history to win a race from the back of the grid.
Really? Oh, didn't Leclerc do it?
I don't know, is he?
I feel like Leclerc did it in Bahrain or something.
Bahrain. Yeah, he really impressed me last year, and he was a bit lucky in his title fight with Hajar, how Hajar sort of capitulated in the last round. But Bortoleto is still very exciting.
I think so. My only issue is regarding who will be like who will be like bigger talent. Is Bearman's got a clear path to a fast car. If he performs at Haas, he's probably going to end up in a Ferrari. Where if Bortoleto performs, obviously that team's turning into Audi, but Audi are a very unknown quantity. We don't know how fast they're going to be in the future. So what sort of platform is Bortoleto going to be given to show his talent?
Bortoleto was with McLaren.
He was.
But I don't know if he still is. He joined McLaren in 2023.
I don't think he is. Even then, I can't see any McLaren seats being open.
And he's not managed, but he's like
Fernando Alonso,
yeah,
isn't it?
Fernando Alonso like pretty much looks after him.
Yeah. But even then, even if he is a McLaren driver, which I'm not sure if he is anymore, there wouldn't be a seat open there for years. I mean, they're sorted. Unless something catastrophic happens, they're sorted.
We've seen weirder things happen.
Yeah, no. But for that reason, with Behrman being in with Ferrari, I'm going to say Behrman.
Ooh. Well, we'll see at the end of the year when Bortoleto wins a title. Do you want to give one?
Yeah, I'll give one that I just quickly found. Hot take. Fernando Alonso is cooked. He has stayed on top form longer than most around him, but age has caught up. Most drivers seem to peak and then gradually decline, but I wonder if we're going to see a quick drop-off with Alonso.
Fernando is a interesting sort of topic to talk about, innit? He's a driver which many people either love or hate.
Yeah, I agree. I used to hate him, to be honest. I never got on with him, but since he's come back again with Aston Martin, I've really respect him.
Yeah, I pretty much grew up the same sort of feeling towards him. You know, like I grew up supporting Red Bull, like watching him fight Vettel. I was always like, I don't like this guy. And then when he came back with Alpine initially in 2021, I want to say.
Yeah.
I was still even then I was a bit like, why is he coming back? But since then, fair play, he's proved me wrong. He's done some absolutely fantastic performances, and he's not getting helped this season by an absolute dog of a car, but he also showed last year cracks in his performance, which leads me towards my feeling of I think we're starting to see the tail end of him.
Yeah, I think, well, definitely it is the tail end. I mean, he's like, 44, 45?
Is he? How old is Fernando? Because someone said, I saw a thing the other day that said Lewis Hamilton was 40, and I was like, how? Fernando Alonso was 43.
Yeah. I mean,
how old was Kimi when he retired?
It's old. It is old.
Oh.
And time's running out. His only chance is he's contracted for the whole of 2026, and that is his last chance. He won't. I don't think he'll pick up another drive after then.
Kimi right now retired when he was 42.
Yeah,
I think Fernando would make a really good team principal.
Or
like if he managed a driver academy.
He's got a driver academy, I think.
Does he?
I think so.
Or say if like Aston Martin wanted to keep him on as like a ambassador role.
Yeah, I can see him doing that because you can clearly see he loves the sport. So I can't imagine he'd want to let go completely once he retires.
Oh no, yeah. I don't think he'll do a Kimi where he sort of just disappears.
Nah.
I think he'll like
he'll stick around.
Is Jenson Button still with Williams?
I didn't know he was.
Yeah, I'm sure Jenson Button was a Williams ambassador or something a couple of years ago. But like, I can see Fernando sticking around. But I do think we are starting to see a decline.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, he's contracted for 26, and that'll be his lot. He's got a year, he's got 2 seasons left, which is crazy.
That's exciting because that could potentially, given how successful Lawrence Stroll wants to be, that could be 2 Aston Martin seats up for grabs.
I think it will be, yeah.
Do you reckon he'll get rid of Lance?
Yeah.
I want him to, but then I don't think he will.
Is that a take?
Well, funny enough, I actually have one that says Lance Stroll has potential to thrive outside of F1 with like Aston WEC project.
I think so. I think although he's not had a great career, he's had great performances, and even to be on an F1 grid, you're an exceptional driver. And in a series like WEC, there's a lot of drivers that aren't exceptional. There's drivers that are exceptional.
And you're also sharing the workload, didn't you?
Yeah. And you've seen people like Kamui Kobayashi go over to World Endurance with Toyota, and he's paved like an amazing career for himself.
He's got like 7 world titles.
Yeah, he's had an amazing career. And to be honest, if the project was good, I could see Stroll doing something similar, or Stroll in IndyCar maybe, because he's North American. If he goes to that sort of thing,
yeah,
I think World Endurance would be more likely with Aston. It wouldn't make sense for him to cut ties completely.
No, I think that's why the WC bid makes sense, because it's sort of like a seamless transition, and then he's also still under his dad's control.
Yeah, I think he could pave a really good career.
As much as I don't want to use the word hate, I don't like the fact Lance Stroll is still in F1. A driver who's been here now for
10 years.
10? No, when did he come in? 2017. Was it? 2016?
2017 sounds about right, actually.
So yeah, about 8-9 years of experience, let's say.
I'm going to be honest, that's, if we're being harsh, that's 6 years too long.
100. There's no way he should have entered, the 2020, 2019 sort of area.
Who was the bloke who was his teammate? It's Sirotkin. Sergei
Sirotkin. Back in... Because he was teammates with Massa first, wasn't he, in 2017?
With the Williams, yeah.
Yeah, because that was back when Williams was still Martini, wasn't it?
Yes.
And then he had 2018, he was there. And then 2019 he went to
Racing Point.
Because that's when his dad bought Force India, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's when Ocon was out. Is that when Ocon was out?
Yeah.
I feel like he lost his... It was between Perez and Ocon who would lose their drive.
Yeah, I want to say that, yeah. I think that's correct. And then he's just sort of been with the same team ever since. But I do feel like he's taken up a spot on the grid, but he also is a driver who you can sort of have a decent argument for why he's still there.
I don't think you can. Other than that his dad owns a team, that is about where it ends.
Look, I'm trying to put I have a strong agenda against Lance Stroll, and I have a strong agenda that he should not be on the grid, but I'm trying to put my bias aside, and I can sort of see where people come from where they try and defend him. Realistically, if I'm being completely, from my own thoughts, I would not have Lance in the car anywhere near this season, and I would have got like Tsunoda in.
Yeah, me too, but yeah, saying that.
But luckily, we're not Lawrence Stroll.
And think how polished he's got as a driver being on that grid.
Oh, yeah.
If he he could really add value to another series. I do think that.
Weck.
Yeah.
Lance Stroll.
Sounds right. I could see him going around Le Mans. I could see it.
I think he'll have the potential, because I can't see him going to any other series. Like you said, IndyCar, I could sort of see that, but the issue is then it's sort of the same way where like Logan Sargent was linked to IndyCar when he left F1, but that didn't happen.
But he's just stopped driving now, isn't he?
I can't blame him. Probably for the best. That's happened with quite a few F1 drivers who've left. Like Nicholas Latifi's a businessman now.
Yeah.
God. Lance Stroll, WEC. World domination. Anyway, do you want to go extra spicy?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, my extra spicy take is Oscar Piastri has more potential than Lando Norris.
Agreed.
I think people are slow. I've had this feeling for a long old time. If you win F3 and F2 back to back in your rookie seasons, you are quite good.
You're on high alert. And to be honest, I've thought this from like 5 races into his career. I thought he's going to pose Norris problems, and he has, and he will, and he will continue to do so.
He's such an emotionless driver, though,
which is good.
Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong. Like, it's better than having your team come on the radio and be like, "Oh, you're losing power," and you go in like you're crying and throwing your toys at the ground.
It's broken.
But you've literally just got Oscar just going, "Oh man, well, what a shame." Or if he wins, he'll go, "Yeah, good."
I think that's what you need.
Imagine what he'll do when he wins a world title.
Nah, he'll go off. It'll go off.
I reckon he'll just get out of the car, start like flipping an Australian flag around like a lasso or something, rip his helmet off, throw it into the crowd. Jump at Max Verstappen's car.
It'll go off. I'll be there for it because I think it'll happen.
No, I think he... we spoke in the Chinese review that he's far from a finished product unless arguably the scariest part. Like, if he... Don't get me wrong, he is already an incredible driver, but he has the potential to where you can turn up to a race, as we saw with like Hamilton and Verstappen, where you turn up and you go, do you know what? If they don't win this race, I'll be surprised.
Yeah.
I can see us sort of getting to the point where we see that from Piastri in a couple of years, and I'm all for it. He's a nice bloke.
I like him.
His mum's incredible.
Yeah.
She every time she pops up on my Twitter, she's brilliant.
Yeah, but the short answer is yes.
100.
I think he's got more potential than Norris.
Oh, that's weird as well, because think how like highly touted Lando's been for years.
Yeah, Lando is good. I just think Piastri's better. Someone will always be better than you.
Unless your name's Max Verstappen.
Unless your name's Lewis Hamilton.
Unless your name's George Russell. Unless your name's Kimi Andrea Antonelli and you're going to win everything. Do you have another take?
Hit me with one of yours.
Hit me with your best shot. Okay. I will go with my next one. I believe Charles Leclerc will not win a world title with Ferrari.
It's looking that way.
It's 100% looking that way. And I think it's even looking to the point Charles Leclerc won't win a world title, full stop.
Well, kind of interlinked, I don't think Charles will ever leave Ferrari.
Yeah, I can sort of see that.
I think he'll finish his career there. So going off that, if I agree with him not winning one with Ferrari, I also agree with him not winning one at all.
Which is criminal.
Which I could see probably happening. I think it might just be unlucky.
Oh, 100%. Like, it's not really through a fault of his own. It's just the bad luck he's had through...
Yeah. I can't remember himself making that many mistakes. There's always been sort of caveats to it where it's been Ferrari or circumstantial. Like,
don't get me wrong, there was like the crashes in like Monaco when he's got like pole and that, and there was a 2019 Monaco where I can remember where he was starting last and he just dive bombed everyone and tried to kill as many people as he could. Oh, I burped. But like, thinking back now, I can't remember many times where you can say, oh, do you know what, Charles, that was like your fault, and that's the reason why you potentially like haven't put a championship claim in. I genuinely do not think he's ever been given a car good enough for a championship, which was legal.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I mean, he had that.
He had the 2019 rocket ship,
that absolute generational run.
3 wins from 3.
And then they got fined for cheating.
And then they went to like 8th.
I'd say start of 22 would have been his best shout.
Yeah, that was sort of the only time because
and he had that mechanical, didn't he, in Bahrain?
Oh, in 2022.
Yeah,
2022 he won.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, was it the year before that he had that?
So 2022 was when like he won in Australia, then Max won in he won in Bahrain, Max won in Jeddah, Leclerc won in Australia, Max won there, and then they sort of went back and forth. But then Leclerc had like he had like an engine failure in Spain, then he had another engine failure in Baku, then he had like a crash in Canada, and then like because looking back on it, 2022 was an incredible like season in the way that, you know, Red Bull were fighting for wins. Obviously Max won the title, but then, you know, Ferrari were genuinely competitive. It was just Ferrari sort of tripped over themselves. And then you look at 2023, you know, Red Bull were miles clear of everyone else. 2024, McLaren came up from nowhere and overtook Ferrari. So Ferrari have always sort of, ever since probably 2022, they've always just sort of been on the back foot, tripping over themselves, and they can only really have themselves to blame.
Yeah, but I'd say that it's looking as though he's going to get passed up. Like, I feel like he might have had his window.
Yeah.
And now there's people, like, it goes in generations, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, like, it goes in cycles.
Charles' crop of rookies was like 2017. We're into like a whole new crop now where people like Lindblad, who are coming up, who's so highly touted, we don't know how good he's going to be. And you could say the same for the people that are on the grid at the minute. Like, you don't know how good Bortoletto is going to be. You don't know how good Behrman's going to be. Do you think he has just been passed up?
I think I'd give him potentially 2028 is the last. I think that
if he doesn't win it by then.
If he doesn't win a title in the next 3 years, he's not winning one.
Yeah, fair.
Because I think by that point, you know, the likes of, if they're still in the sport, obviously, we're speaking in, you know, just random sort of prediction terms. If the likes of Bortoletto, Antonelli, you know, Bayman, Piastri, Norris, all these younger drivers who are only going to get better with time, even someone like Verstappen could still be around winning world titles. If Charles fighting with them with a mediocre Ferrari team and a mediocre Ferrari car, he's not going to win a world title.
No.
So, as sad as it is, because look, he's one of, in my opinion, one of the best drivers on the grid, and he's one of the most likable drivers on the grid, you know. To see him not really get any major success, it's just sad. One final thing. Who's your most overrated driver on the grid?
Ooh.
Put you on the spot.
That is put me on the spot. Let me get them all up, just because I know them, but having them in front of me is just easier to like go through. I mean, overrated, you could say Stroll, but that's too easy.
Stroll is not overrated at all.
No, but he kind of is just being there. Like, surely.
Yeah, I think you could say he's overrated for even being in the sport. But
yeah.
Like, from a general fan point of view, I'd say.
I'm going to say the most overrated driver. Oh, it might be Norris.
Oh, that's criminal.
It might be Norris, just because everyone loves him. And if you look on paper, his CV, no, I can't say him.
The more you think about it, you could. You think, it's not going to be Verstappen.
Do you know someone it could be? And this is coming from one of his fans. It's Carlos Sainz.
Yeah.
Because
that was a name floating around in my noggin.
He's been passed round teams. He's never cemented himself in one single team.
Oh, it's so harsh to say he's overrated.
Honestly, this grid's really good.
Yeah, you look at the teams like Verstappen's not overrated. You know, Ferrari, some people say Hamilton's overrated, but if you do, you're daft.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Some people even say Leclerc is overrated, which, you know, there's potentially a debate there, but I don't think there is. You look at, like, the McLaren boys, you can't really overrate Piastri. You could potentially overrate Norris. You could look at the Mercedes. You could potentially overrate Russell.
But I bring forward, who rates Russell?
Yeah,
I never hear people really fight Russell's
Russell
corner.
is not a fanless driver, but he's a driver who you could...
He's just there.
Like, that you would bring up a debate, you go like, oh, Norris is better than Leclerc, and then you go, but Piastri's better than Leclerc and Norris. You're never going to go, well, do you know what, George Russell's better than them all. Like, the only time you can really mention George Russell in any debate is if you sort of go like, oh, who's the best British driver on the grid? And then you'll go, well, it's Norris, and you'll go, well, it could be... No, it's not George.
It's harsh, but perhaps true.
I think he's not underrated. I think he's just there.
So who do you think's the most overrated?
Oh God. The problem is, like, you can't give it to any of the Sauber drivers. It's so. Like, a name I want to say is Gasly.
Really?
But is he even rated?
I think Gasly's got fans.
I think the issue is Gasly, like 2021, 2020 era was like, he was really good. Like,
he was really good and underrated.
Yeah, but then he sort of went to Alpine and it just never like really worked out. So can you really call him overrated?
I don't think so.
I genuinely think it could be Norris.
I mean, that's going to get a lot of stick.
Yeah. I'm
going to say for now it's Norris.
I think it's Norris or Sainz.
Because he has so many fans and everyone's like, oh yeah, world champion in the making, like Lando Norris, undeniable. But is it really that firm?
I think people are very quick to assume he will like have a definite like world title shot. Like, you look at a driver and you don't get me wrong, nothing's ever for certain in Formula 1, but you look at a driver, like, you look at when Hamilton came into the sport, you knew he was going to be successful. You look at when Max came into the sport, although he was, like, crashing every other week, you knew he was going to be good. I don't get that vibe from Norris. I get the vibe of he could, don't get me wrong, he's fully able to get a world title.
Yeah.
But he has no right to like be guaranteed one.
No, and I think this year is like a huge year because I don't know how good that McLaren's going to be with the new regs.
No.
Because they most likely put all their eggs in this year's basket.
What I also think the difference is now, like last year, I thought a great option for Red Bull second seat would have been Norris. Because I thought if they tried to go for the 2 number 1 drivers, then it could potentially work. But I think even now for a different team, I think Piastri is now a more attractive product of like if you were to sign one of the two.
I think so.
I think if you look at like, say if Ferrari wanted to go, Hamilton's retiring, we want someone to partner Leclerc and we want a number 1 driver. We don't want a rookie, we want someone who's at the front. And you look around the grid, you're going to pick Piastri over Norris, which it hurts Norris.
I think so. It comes back to that first take. Was it your first take? I can't remember now. But
one of them.
It's just, yeah. Like he's the more appealing prospect. And like people think, oh, Lando's so young. Look, he is young. But he's had like 7 years in F1 though.
He's been here since 2019?
Yeah. He's had 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. This is his 7th year. It's a long time.
And don't get me wrong, he's only really had... Christ, I wouldn't even say a year, because he's probably had 3/4 to a season fighting for a title, but still, you know, some of the things we saw towards the end of last season, it didn't look World Championship material. Some of the mistakes he made.
And then we were talking last week about Australia and how it's career defining, and he looked different. But then he goes and finishes 8th in the sprint this weekend.
Yeah, and like in our review, we're like, oh, he, like in Australia, he genuinely looked untouchable. But did he look untouchable, or did the car look untouchable?
And you say he looked untouchable, but he made a mistake and went off on the grass and nearly lost the race.
No, Lando Norris overrated.
Yeah.
There you go,
Stamped.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Push to Pass podcast approved.
Push to Pass certified horrible, horrific driver. Well, that is it, ladies and gentlemen, for this little special we had. Given there was no racing this weekend, we just thought we'd still get another episode out, so we looked at some hot takes. Let us know if you want more of this sort of stuff in the weeks we don't have any races. So next week we will be back for the Japanese Grand Prix for a preview. We'll also think of another feature to do.
Yeah.
Just as a sort of stopgap. I was going to say we could do predicting our 2026 drivers good.
Bit early.
I know, but there's nothing else to do.
Right,
we're going to do a draft. But that is it for today's episode of the Push to Pass F1 podcast. I hope you have enjoyed. I've been Max.
I've been Reef.
And this has been the Push to Pass F1 podcast.